to the family. Peace, love, and light. Jesus Christ. What's good? What's good? We'll give y'all a minute. Peace, family. Oh, Powerball 550. Powerball 550 in these streets. God damn it. I'm finna play me my numbers.
I'm telling you.
I'm talking about. Yes, sir. Peace to the family. Peace, love, and light. Grand Rising. Grand Rising, y'all. Peace, peace, peace. What's good with the family? Happy Thors Day. Alright. What's today's card? Peace. Let me know my
call the sharing of ideas.
Can y'all hear me? Oh yeah, you got me. You got me. Yes. Today I got the same outfit on. Somebody called me out. You caught me. I got a different hat though. I got a different hat, but it is the same outfit. I got, you know, and it's a different chain. I got my different chain on. I got my Goku. You feel me? With my cable links. So I don't know if the jewelry don't count. Yeah, I do got the same fit. Y'all caught me. I've never been caught with the same fit back to back. But today's one of those days. I loved it so much. I had to do it again.
Plus you didn't nobody see you outside.
Yeah, very few people saw me in it outside of the live because I wasn't gallivanting around the city and I didn't open up the venue yesterday. So technically, you know, it's still a fresh fit, and it's hella. I like, you know, yeah, I like the suit. I like the suit because I'm gonna have a very professional conversation with you today about some things that's going on in this world, and I'm reminded, you know, when I dress professional, I act professional. When I dress super ratchet, then I act. You know what I'm saying? It's your wardrobe. Your wardrobe is kind of like a determining factor of it puts you in the energy of how you're gonna operate, because let nobody tell you no different. You're gonna be judged based on how you look. You know what I'm saying? People are going to develop some sort of impression, right? That's why it's called a wardrobe, because when I'm going outside, I'm going to war against our image, right? The image of us that has been bastardized, commercialized, and, you know, trumped up to when I was growing up, they call it a felony look. Later on, we call it a penitentiary look, because, you know, the niggas who's dressed up looking like they finna go to jail, right? Or you got a look on you that makes the police automatically gravitate towards you to say, oh, you know, you fit the description. What's the description? A nigga in a white tee with jeans on, you know what I'm saying, with a do-rag. Remember when everybody was dressing that way, right? And commonality, like the whole hood was dressed the same way. So if somebody do some shit in the hood, then they on the block and everybody got to go up against the wall. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's a wardrobe, because every single day that I come outside, I'm going to war against our image, because that has what has been bastardized, our image and our brand. The brand of blackness has a black eye, right? Hence the fact that we're going through all of these conversations continuously about telling the world our lives matter. If our lives matter so much, we wouldn't have to remind nobody, because the Yahudis don't got to tell nobody that their lives matter. They show you with their actions, right? The bank, the money changers. I'm not going to utilize the term small hat. That's very disrespectful. So I'm not going to do that, because I don't want to be disrespectful. I want to have a very conscientious, clear, conscious conversation about some things that are rattling our nation or our people in particular. right? Because what I'm hearing in the commentary, right, that people are expressing, especially with this movement of FBA and the movement of people who identify themselves as indigenous, you know what I'm saying? We're the Native Americans and the natives are not the natives. Those people, you're speaking like you got a love for the homeland. You're speaking like you have a connection to the soil and to the dirt. You're speaking as if you have an identity that's separate from you as dot citizen, right? You don't necessarily come under the confines or the identity per se as like a U.S. citizen. You're holding up your black fist and you like, I'm melanated, I'm black, I got a history, I got a, they've stolen my identity, you know what I'm saying? My people is millions of years old. All of that stuff is what I'm hearing come out of my folks. So, I want to speak specifically to our people, you know what I'm saying? Even if you are a registered U.S. dot or U.S. dot citizen, you're a card carrying member of this corporation, you still my people, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, we were all duped into bad contracts, you know what I'm saying? And our mamas did us in, but our mamas didn't know any better. Let me go into this, right? I heard a rabbi say this, and the rabbi said that our mothers, he said mothers are many prophetess, right? He said the mothers in particular are many prophetess, like a prophet, but the female version. So there are many prophetess, and what he meant by that is the mother is responsible for putting the name vibration on the child, right? Because the name is the vibration that the child is going to conform to. That child is going to live by that frequency for the majority of their lives until they decide to take on another moniker. And even if they adopt another moniker, they have to see what the commonality between both of those vibrations are, because you always going to be what your mama called you, right? That is your galactic, your cosmic signature. The frequency that you're going to be, your signature frequency that the universe is going to respond to you by is the name that your mother puts on you. So they called her many prophetess because the mother will be able to extract the information that's needed and necessary to give you the name that becomes your identity, that becomes your signature, right? So it's very important, that we understand the role and the position of the matriarch, the matrilineal person in our family. She not only gives us the vibration or the name, but she also forges you in her body. Like, think about this. You a whole person. I'm a whole person, right? I was inside of somebody's body, like literally, like in their womb, in their uterus, and that's where I was forged and formulated inside somebody else's universe, inside somebody else's body. In my case, it was two of us, right? So it's you're closest technically to your mother because you come from her, and not only that, you come from the mitochondria, right? That's the big part of what makes the mother so special, is the mitochondria. And all of your energy, you know what I'm saying? Everything comes from the mitochondria, but the mitochondria is also where the matrix is at, right? And you could Google this. There's a part of the mitochondria in science that's called matrix. It's a blue gooey substance, and it's called a matrix. And when we get in these hospitals by way of the mother, by way of our mamas put us in the matrix, right, with the paperwork and handing us over to the state, and we become wards of the state. Our mothers, they have confused the process, and they take the hand of our mama, and our mama puts us into slavery for the corporation, which turns us into a corporate fiction. She don't know no better. right? But she's a mini prophetess, so technically she's supposed to know something. Because she's a prophetess. Feel me? So, our mamas is special, right? And yet again, we got to go through life reconciling the relationship that we have with our mother, especially when you come into this information, because the information is going to turn you out, and you're going to start spiraling first before you find your foundation, and you know what I mean, and get to a particular direction that you can go where you're going. A lot of people, myself included, when we learned this information, we got angry first, right? We got very angry, and then some of us even took it out on our mamas, right? And the place that you should get at, that you know that you kind of, gotten over that hump, is when you reconcile that relationship with your mother. Feel me? When you reconcile that relationship with mama, then you kind of know that you got past the anger phase, and then now you can actually utilize this information as your shield and your sword, and you're not always stabbing yourself with it. Because in the beginning, that's what this shit looked like. You cutting yourself, you stabbing yourself, figuratively. Some people do it literally, but I'm saying figuratively with the information, because you're trying to get to the truth. And the truth is within. So you got to dig through all of the different layers that have been, they layered you up like a mummy with lies. And here you go looking for the truth. You're going to destroy things outside of yourself, but you got to really end up destroying yourself first to get to that person inside of you that needs your help. Whether it's a 5-year-old that was damaged, whether it was a 2-year-old, or whether it was that infant that now you realize, damn, I've been in slavery since I came out of the womb. Who put me there? Mama. Damn. Mama, you did this. But they duped mama. She was under drugs. She was confused. They had her on her back, upside down, with them lights. It shouldn't have been on mama. And then they're keeping the father out of the whole process, so they could just go straight to the mama in her most emotional state, when she's most confused and confounded, right? And she has to make a decision of a lifetime that you got to live with. Only for us to figure this stuff out, to go back and reconcile with mama, to be like, I forgive you because you knew not what you did. You know what I'm saying? And then that frustration and that anger should be channeled somewhere else towards somebody else. And I'm not going to say who. But if you're not properly channeling, that frustration, that anger, that uneasiness that you feel, because you feel like, damn, I've been done wrong. They took my birthright. Look what they did to my people. You feel me? All of these things that we see ourselves going through. If we can't reconcile our relationship with our mother and figure out where to direct this uneasiness that we feel, then we're going to succumb to our own emotions. You know what I mean? And I feel that the uptick in cannibal content in society, I'm going to make this wild claim, but I've made many before and they've come true. This uptick in cannibal content that we see in our society, right? I can say it is primarily a backdrop to the increase in what we consider to be autoimmune diseases that you see in the society right now, right? This is the celebration of the cannibals who had to eat them people on a plane. Remember they made a movie about it? I ain't watched the movie, so I don't know what it's called. But y'all remember what I'm talking about. So autoimmune disease is when your body starts eating itself, right? Your body starts eating itself and going against itself. where nobody is making the connection and the correlation to this uptick and this appreciation and this embracement of cannibalism, is the fact that after the Jabbington of last year, right, there's so many upticks of super duper amounts of cancer in our community and autoimmune diseases, right? The body is literally eating itself inside out at this particular time in our population. This is what a lot of people are going through across the board. Okay? Across the board, we see a uptick and an increase in all sorts of autoimmune deficiencies and autoimmune diseases. And science is not explaining this properly. They're speaking about everything but the Jabbington. And while I would never say, yo, the yay conversation is a distraction, right? That wouldn't be proper. I wouldn't say it was a distraction. I would say that it's a blind, you have to watch all sides when things is moving like that. So what else is going on? It's not a distraction. We're just not taught to appreciate news holistically, right? It's only a distraction if that's the only thing that you focused on. You got to look all around the board and find out what connects, because everything is connected, right? There's no separation. They keep telling you that about everything else. It's the same thing about news, right? Because two things can be true at the same time. You feel me? It could be a distraction and not a distraction at the same time. It's a distraction if that's the only form of, check this, entertainment that you're entertaining. And that's what this has become for some people. It's entertainment. For other people, it's their life. Right? But entertainment is entertainment for a lot of people. So people have the inability to engage in a multiplicity of things at once. You feel me? So the cannibal situation, it seems to be supported by the backdrop of the uptick in autoimmune disease, and there's also an uptick in cancer in the community, right? Sudden death syndrome is at an all-time high. Sudden death syndrome in adults is almost like sudden death syndrome in infants, right? You just seen the Haitian performer collapse and die the other day. Y'all just seen Brandy collapse with the seizure the other day, right? You're seeing mad people collapse, and then we're seeing society is batshit crazy. You feel me? Society is going batshit crazy. Nothing is the way that it was before. Right?
It's gonna be all over the internet in a minute.
We're up here arguing about whose lives matter the most. Right? We're up here with the audacity, the caucasity of arguing about whose lives matter the most, when the people in the Bible who usurped your birthright come along and sit everybody down, and they like, we don't got to tell you that our lives matter. I'm going to show you how much it matters. Right? So which is more powerful? Which is more powerful? And let's talk about the science of aggregate efficiency, as my brother 19 Keys always talks about. The definition of aggregate efficiency is that if you use up mad energy to get something done, the thing that you get done has to be equal to the energy that you put in it to get done. And he often says this, right? It took 10 million people marching to get a conviction of one officer who killed one man, right? What is the aggregate efficiency of that? Right? It took 10 million people globally. Remember, they had defied the orders of COVID, lockdown, and all of that to come outside and march for George Floyd. Right? About 10 million people were registered globally as participating in a protest. They got one person convicted for 22.5 years. The aggregate efficiency on that is very poor when you look at the statistics to say, yo, they killed at least 500,000 people in them hospitals during C-19, right? Negligently. Let's say that the rest of them died because of pre-existing conditions. There was other people who was killed in them hospitals because their lungs got blown out. They was put on respirators. They was misdiagnosed, right? The tests were faulty. And then they got the jab. And then there's mad people still dying to this day because of the jab. So now we're talking about 400,000, right? Let's say that the numbers, let's say it was 500,000 from negligence leading up to the jab. Post the jab, let's say it's about 400. Just been dying. Where they marches at? Where their protests? Nobody's saying nothing. And the same people who would have the nerve now to come in front of you and tell you how important it is to vote by any and all means, right? You got to get your behind out there and hit the polls, because the future of the Democratic Party is contingent upon your participation, right? As cute as that sounds, right? As cute as that sounds, we're the people who are standing up to defend your life and your liberty and your right to body sovereignty, let alone your autonomous right to self-governance. That's a whole nother conversation. So everything that we've been working for, we're looking at it slip away by some very slick politicians, right? Who come waving these flags in the name of quote-unquote blackness, but they're only putting on for the LGBT community, right? Which is the offshoot of the medical industry and the chemical industry as well, or the science industry. What do I mean? In order for a transvestite to be a transvestite, in order for the trans community to even check in, right? They have to be tethered to science, and they have to be tethered to the medical industry. Meaning what? You're not going to be able to hold that form if you don't get them surgeries and if you don't get them pills. So we know, or at least I do, by observation, that's a buffer zone between transhumanism. Because whatever the medical industry comes up with in terms of experimental drugs or experimental procedures, right, to change a full-blooded, quote-unquote, human being into something else, we know who the first candidates are going to be for those surgeries. Because they're doing it now. Right? So this is not about, I'm just saying, look, if I'm attempting to get to my op so I could properly get the redress that's necessary and needed, or get some answers, they're putting a whole buffer zone between you and them, right? And that buffer zone is the LGBT community, who don't understand that they're being duped, right? To say, oh, their rallying cries, they was born this way. Granted, maybe you're right. But that's not to say that your mother's, that you as an embryo or as a fetus was not tinkered with by your mother, taking all of those chemicals in the interim of you being in the womb. So while you believe that you was born this way, I would say granted. But I will also say that there was something strategically done that aided and assisted in the chemical imbalance that created the So this overindulgence that we have as a community in chemicals, not knowing what the full effects of them are, right? We just goofy when it comes to the things that we put in our body. We don't know a motherfucking thing. And everything that we know about ourselves has just shown us that, right? Everything that we know about ourselves has just shown us that we really don't know nothing about the body. We don't know nothing about, you know what I'm saying? Nothing when it comes to biology and physiology. Not a damn thing. So, you know, we don't understand the processes that have been led to this explosion and this uptick in this particular community. Is dealing with over-chemicalization, right? We are subject to chemical warfare on every front. Every front imaginable, there's a war that's being waged on us, right? And some of us are complicit with that war because we're benefiting from it, right? And why is that not a new thing in our society or our community? Because we've seen this before. We've seen this before. We've seen that our people are willing to throw everything away, right? We've seen that our people are willing to throw everything away, okay? So they can personally benefit, yes. So this generation is being born because my lady, she pointed out, she's like, yo, you know, a lot of these dudes, they was born like little baby, like these niggas was born post 2000. These is like Y2, what's his name, Y2K Osiris. These little niggas that's breaking down, all of these niggas is post Y2K. So their parents was probably taking ecstasy. Their parents was the first line that was smoking the loud, right? Their parents was experimenting and lean and shit like that. Their parents was taking hot chips as their meals and blue soda, right? Because I used to hang out in Chicago. That's their national cuisine. That's the cuisine of choice in Chi-Town, right? And I was in when was I? I did a lecture in Chi-Town with AA. It was in 2012, so this was 10 years ago, and that shit felt like 20 years ago. And these little niggas, yeah, they was 5-year-old little Floyd Mayweather little niggas. 5-year-old little niggas. They had hands and all of that. Niggas had the do-rag on. They shit was 360. They had 13-year-olds on the corner. This was on a Sunday. I was like, damn, this shit was in HD. Little girl had on stockings with lipstick. She was 13, like 13 or 14. It was in 3D. It was like in your face. It was on a Sunday, my nigga. That shit reminded me of, me and Baba G, we went to Oakland to do a Malcolm X Fest out there. And I heard about it. I just ain't know. It was a Sunday too that we went to do the Malcolm X Fest out there. Man, they had them girls on the strip. And what was so disrespectful, they had little niggas as pimps. They was on bikes. These little niggas couldn't be no more than 16. I was like, you gotta be kidding. You motherfucker, you better get your ass up in that goddamn house. I was offended. Like, how dare you? You out here pimping? On a Sunday? On the Lord's Day? Astaghfirullah. So, we see all of this tinkering that's taking place at a biological level, and the results that are coming by way of them creating a mutant population in our community. In our community. Yes, this shit is only taking place in our community. How can the Democratic Party have the nerve, right, to put Trina and a member of the LGBT community in their national ad campaign, and the niggas telling you that if you don't vote, you're not gonna get you some anus. This is where we're at as a society, right? When they tell you that our people are dealing with being prime candidates for any and everything disease prone as a people, we the prime candidates, but this is the shit that we feel and see ourselves just volunteering for. And while they're promising, rim shots and shit like that to our people, then you turn around and the person who we are entrusting with our vote, who says that the results of the Georgia election is going to be contingent upon black men in particular, right? You would turn around and disrespect us and say because inflation is hurting the family that the answer to that should be abortion, right? And this is the shit that Angela Stanton and them was riding on when they were speaking about the Democrats. I just want to know, how did the world go? Oh, man, there's so much shit. How did the world go from... and y'all gonna put some respect on my algorithm already, all right? Y'all gonna put some respect on my algorithm already. The shit is going too long. You feel me? This shit is going on too long. How could the world in 2020, right? How could the world in 2020 go from everybody being captivated in their house? They were introduced to all of these conspiracy videos, right? And everybody found out about the cabal. Remember, 2020 was Epstein. 2020 was Epstein. 2020 was the residue of Pizzagate. 2020 was adrenochrome. 2020 was when the whole world went woke. So niggas was they was in a captive audience at home, watching all of the conspiracies, right? They was laying out, the shit was like Zeitgeist 2020, right? They laid the whole shit out for you in 2020, and everybody seemed to be in captive audience, and people were awoke. They got awakened. 2021 comes and you see that it was all cap because they was able to create a fear campaign, and some people were saved from that, right? But keep in mind, we're talking about the cabal from 2020, right? 2021 comes, they come with the jab. They show that it was cap, right? Only thing that they had to do is motherfucking sound off an air horn, and everybody's gonna scatter, and the niggas who was woke gonna go back to sleep and shit like that, right? So, cause niggas be sleepy, right? But they so woke. So 2021, they showed you that this shit is not as woke as you think it is, right? Only thing they got to do is threaten people's livelihood, and they're going to choose their livelihood over their life. 2022 now, we see the repercussions of that, right? Because niggas is dying wholesale. And this is not to make fun of anybody dying, because there's people directly in my family who have died because of this shit. Right? So I'm not making fun of this shit. I'm not making light of it. And this is not we better than you because we made a conscientious decision and didn't take the poison. But here we go in 2022, right? And then you get some shit like this. All right? You get some off-the-wall shit like this happening, and now everybody want to play the fool. Oh, I don't know, man. This nigga's bugging out. He's tweaking. It must be his meds or something like that. I'm like, yo, didn't everybody get exposed to the cabal in 2022? I mean, in 2020? So why is what Ye saying today seems so foreign to people if this conversation was already preferenced and you got all of the resource material that you need right? You got it all in them videos that you had from 2020. And then the ones that followed up in 2021. And then the ones that have followed up in 2022. So now I get why. I had seen a tweet from Nori. I'm looking for it, but I can't find it. So Nori was attempting to stunt the day that he put the interview out. He was like he owned the internet. And then they showed a series of tweets that happened right up until he got canceled, or, you know, they threatened to cancel him, and he fell on the sword and folded. So his last post, he was like, Rizza Islam, come say. He's like, where y'all at? He said Doc Umar. He said Rizza, and he called out somebody else, right? He should have called out Keys and shit, because they need him on Drink Champs, right? But he called out other people that he was looking for help. So they show you that when they get in these sticky situations, because now celebrities are playing like they're the conscious, right? Because that's what the woke industry has done. Yeah, he was calling for Sean King. The woke industry has created a cottage factory, right? That people celebrities now can speak conscious under the guise of wokeness. And then when they come for them, right? Like how when they came for Nick Cannon, then they want to pass the buck and call the real quote unquote conscious folk out to come and save them. Right? So we see the way that played out. But why are people so absent-minded when you live through the whole legacy of the cabal? Niggas came and gave you the whole history of the Rockefellers in 2021 when they were attempting to dissuade you from taking the poison. They said, look, I'm going to show you what the Rockefellers is giving, right? And ironically, this nigga was signed to the Rockefellers and he got canceled by J.P. Morgan, right? He got canceled by the Rockefellers and the nigga was signed to the Rockefellers, right? And this is what you get for fronting. Because it's either one or two things. Either them niggas is down with the cabal or they not. And this is their wake-up call. That you not part of the family. Don't matter if you name yourself the Rockefellers, nigga. You're not part of the family. So, John D. Rockefeller, and he's named John D. after the sorcerer, right? The in-house sorcerer for Queen Elizabeth, her mama. Her mama got John D., who was the prototype. Now, y'all could Google this shit, right? Y'all could Google who these people are, because I can't go through the whole fucking script. And if you never heard this shit gonna sound so off the wall. But trust me when I tell you, I don't fucking deal in cat, nigga. So go do the research. Regardless if I sound crazy or not. You can go and do the cross references to fact check this shit, okay? So John D, spelt like that. I just pinned his name at the bottom, right? He was a sorcerer who was commissioned by the British Crown to give them the source that was needed to actually create the British Isles or what have you. So he consecrated the power dynamic that we see. Britain, a very small island, right? He was able to give them all of the cloth that they needed. And what he was able to do, he was able to hack what's called an angel language, right? He tapped into the Enochian. Remember Enoch from the Bible? He tapped into it, Enochian language / script. And his magic was off the fucking channels because he was able to break, I guess, what we would consider anybody who's dealing with magic. You understand the Seals of Solomon. You understand the Goetia, right? So he was able to crack that. And they gave this nigga the script. Once again, what shows you, when it comes to this angel shit, when it comes to this ancestor shit, this shit is not loyal based on no motherfucking bloodline or ethnicity. You can hack them niggas and you can pay for favors. That's right. Please believe, right? There's no loyalty when it comes to this shit. If you make it up there, them niggas will talk to you. So he was able to hack that shit. He was able to put the motherfucking seals on the Britain And they have been able to do they fuck shit around the world ever since. He is also the prototype that they utilized for 007, right? He was the original double agent. So John D. Rockefeller is named after him. So John D. Rockefeller comes in and does his dirt, right? He do his thug dizzle. So John D. Rockefeller is tied to oil. The pharmaceutical industry came by way of the byproduct of the petroleum that was created. Yes, but it was created by petroleum, by oil. So the pharmaceutical industry is an offshoot of the oil industry. Where he went and did to tie it in, again, to consecrate it, to put the bow on the box, he creates the AMA, or the American Medical Association. The American Medical Association, it then goes into full gear to attack shit that I come from, which is what? Indigenous herbs, plants, right? Things of that nature, right? So they castigate anything that deals with anything natural. So these niggas are so late. It's 2022 and they're telling you that purslane is a super plant. You know how long ago my people been dealing with this herb? This is how far they have set back the evolution of man. And it hasn't been long. This is just a 100-year process because Standard Oil and all of that came into play in the early 1900s. Right? So John D. Rockefeller ties into oil. He ties into pharmaceuticals. He ties into the banking, right? Which directly ties him into politics. You feel me? And then all of the rest of stuff in terms of if you want to go secret society and all of that stuff, right? The concentration of power in this country dealing with the families who our people will rather emulate then investigate, right? And yeah, it comes across as one of the greatest American stories. But at what cost? At what cost? At the cost of your birthright, at the cost of your autonomy, at the cost of your sovereignty, right? And these people is eugenicists, so it may be at the cost of your very existence within itself. For a profit, for $1. So now this shit is off the chain. Oh, okay, and then John D. Also, we're talking about media. So the Rockefeller Foundation and all of that is the endorsers of media because they're buying all of the commercial slots, right? All the pharmaceutical companies buy all of the advertising spots on media. So you don't have to control the media company. You just control the companies that buy all of the media slots and you control media. So in one person, because they be like one person can't control the world. And one person of John D. Rockefeller, right, with his ties to the tribe of Judah, if you will, because we ain't gonna say them names, right, controls oil, controls banking, controls media, and controls the pharmaceutical industry. One person or one family. All right? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. The weed that they're now saying is a super plant is the weed that they've been killing all this time in their commercials to promote their weed killers. So the thing that they're calling a weed, they found out is a super plant. My people been knew that. Shout out to Sabi. Shout out to Mama Pill. Shout out to all of the indigenous elders that came before them. They've been doing this shit without names. These unsung heroes, these nanas of ours, right? Who prepare seasonal cleanse around this time. They would be going into the bush to give your ass some tea. Yes, and then we could also say that the education sector is theirs as well. And they share that with the Jesuits coming out of Texas. Right? All textbooks, all educational propaganda, curriculum comes out of Texas. Right? So we know who these people are. At least those of us who know, we know. It's like, y'all don't. or the rest of the world don't know. And this is putting us in a pickle, because this seems like it's a manhunt on the conscious. And yeah, they're utilizing situations like what Kanye's doing. You know, the way that you hunt in the bushes is you cause a scene, right? You cause a diversion in one place, and then the game come out running, and then the people that's in the bushes on the other side, they could pick the game off, because when you cause this commotion, everybody has to scatter, and they're no longer in their safe or hiding place, right? This is what we're seeing right now. And I'm saying that Ye is operating in a very manic state, right? And he needs some support with his commentary and his narrative. I'm not saying that we got to stand beside him as people. I'm saying he got to get his message together, because he's putting people in a line of danger by misfiring, right? And as much as he's making points, you know, he's also expressing his manic state, his manic depression. He's also speaking from a place of insurmountable hurt and pain, right? And that's all we're getting. He's raging, rightfully so. Rightfully so, but he's a Gemini. So this is no shot to Geminis. I've dealt with Geminis all my life, and I'm a twin, right? So I'm not taking shots at Geminis. I have just I've been very psychoanalytical of Geminis. So Geminis, because they're mercurial, their minds work faster than their mouths. Geminis also the sign that governs communication, so they can't help but talk. But Geminis don't finish their sentences, and they go on to the next thought, because the thoughts is coming like this. And they can't process their thoughts, right? So now I'm at the point, where I'm seeing this man's pain and it's hurting me. As an empath, I'm feeling his pain. That nigga needs a hug. He needs some herbs. And he needs some time alone. He needs to be left alone. He needs to definitely be left off the internet for a while. He said enough. You feel me? And after he gets that healing, then he should be inundated with information from maybe a Rizza Islam or 19 Keys. And I'm saying brothers who can articulate themselves in a way in which his talking points need to be a little bit more structured, but also, and I'm not saying, I'm not attempting to do the thing that everybody else does, which is put words in his mouth. Pause. I'm saying that he is touting a lot of talking points of conservative Christians, right? And evangelical Christians. He needs to bring his consciousness more so to the centrist place. So I asked this on Keys Live the other day. In your consciousness, are you a conservative conscious person, or are you liberal in your consciousness? Right? And I'm going to show you what the difference is. Are you a conservative conscious person, or does your consciousness lean more so towards liberalism? Or are you a centrist? Do you find yourself somewhere in the middle or the center of those two conversations? Because I tend to think that my conscientiousness or my consciousness is more so conservative. You feel me? Because here goes the trick. Niggas want to throw away religion in place for spirituality, right? Where's your guardrails at, though? Do you have any moral code to your spirituality? Right? Yeah. Ye needs to be on high level conversation, and he should be on no other platform before the bros, you know what I'm saying, welcome him into a safe space. I wouldn't even say home, because nobody gonna be up there agreeing with everything that he got to say and coddling his nobody's gonna be coddling, you feel me, his manicness. It will be properly diagnosed in that space, but it's also gonna be a safe space for him because he will at least be heard. But he's being mishandled by media right now, and this shit looks crazy. It looks crazy, right? And he's in a danger zone. Now, he already gave up his own life, and I expect them to make good on that promise, as they should, because hey, that's the nature of the business. When you crawl on the cross, right? If you want to play savior, the people expect to be crucified. That's just, it is what it is. And they've gone beyond character assassination, right? He needs to make it effective, right? Because that's what he wants. He doesn't look crazy to you. What I'm saying is that when it comes to Geminis, it's a very thin case. The more that you let them talk, they can explain themselves, but they can also create more of a hole for themselves, right? So the fluid nature of where his conversations need to go is not, he's all over the place. His stream of consciousness, yes, is not laser focused enough for him to hit the targets that he's aiming at. And they're spinning him. They're spinning him. You feel me? They're spinning him. Right? I would say Keys more so, because the line of questioning that needs to be had with him has to be very calculated. You know what I'm saying? And you have to know a little bit about people who are dealing with manic depression, who are dealing with bipolarism, you know what I'm saying? And who have a level of hurt. A nigga got to get up and hug him. Feel me? He just don't just allow him to speak and just keep going and speaking. And just speaking and speaking and speaking. Right? And maybe he might get that on the other platform. You feel me? But I know on, because Keys wanna, you know, like somebody had asked, they was like, yo, was you being interviewed on Blue Pill's podcast? It's like, cause you talk like, if it was a 3-hour conversation, the nigga spoke for an hour and a half. You feel me? So yeah, he would need to be there with a contingency that can bring him back into the center. You feel me? Because he's been scrambled by evangelical conservative talking points, i.e. Candace Owen and what she has been parroting in his ear. Now, there's a way to extract truth out of that without toting the line for Christian conservatives or evangelicals. And I don't know if he knows how to get out of that very sticky place that he's in. So those are the things that's described. Let him. Maybe y'all could tag up him on Twitter or whatever platforms that he still has access to. You feel me? Y'all need to let him know that he needs to be on High Level Conversations. You know, he needs to be petitioned.
We in the driveway. Yeah, we in the driveway.
Yeah, y'all might want to go ahead and get something to eat or something real quick. I just pulled away from my house.
All right.
Ordered 2 bowls, and the guy can't deliver them.
Nah, not yet. But yeah. Yeah. Go get something. So let me get into this before the live gets cut. So while Ye is giving you the backdrop, right, as into who the tribe of Judah is, and you seeing everything, right? They shut him down in banking, they shut him down in media, right? And this is the point that he's making. You have to understand there's a political game that's taking place globally right now that the tribe of Judah is involved in on a geopolitical level globally, where they're putting everybody in game, right? And the Fed is raising interest rates, and they are destabilizing global economies right now in place to prop up the dollar, right? There is economic warfare that's taking place around this planet that is destroying and decimating entire economies, right, leading up to what's considered to be the global reset. So who's in charge of the global reset? Who are the players that are in charge of the global reset? You niggas just finished watching the Cabal 2 years ago and y'all forgot already. That's what I'm saying. This why this conversation in this space and this place is so dangerous, because niggas is acting like they got collective amnesia all of a sudden. So the people who screaming at their lungs, right? We look like we crazy. But when y'all was inside instead of being outside, right? Everybody was glued to their screen, and it was like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is what these people are into. Are you serious? Okay? So she's the first casualty. She's not going to be the last. After 44 days, Liz Truss, after Queen Elizabeth gets, knocked off our high horse, I told you that was the destruction of the monarch, and that was the collapse of their empire. She was the only thing holding it together, right? King Charles can't hold it together. Shit. When he kicked the bucket, his sons can't do nothing with it, right? They ain't got enough blood on them. They ain't drink enough baby blood. They ain't do enough sacrifices. They don't have the ashe. She had the ashe for doing all of the devilish shit that she did. When she died, it went with her, and she opened up a portal. Because weird shit been happening ever since she left. You feel me? But there's a destabilization happening globally, right? We might as well speak about what the U.S. did, right? In the Biden administration. And I would ask you to say, do you think that it's your grandfather doing this? Do you think that this is Biden's work? Right? They did a chess move, and they destabilized the entire Chinese economy in one day with one move by changing the definition of U.S. persons and making all of the employees of the semiconducting industry in China decide between their citizenship and their livelihood. This time, they chose their citizenship. Feel me? And they destroyed this particular industry. Hence the fact that they have destroyed, for now, Chinese economy, which is one of the biggest. We're all going to feel that, though. That's not something that we should all be celebrating. If you got a business that deals with, production overseas, you in trouble. You better make some contingency plans, right? So my time is running out. I got a lot more to speak to y'all about contingencies, plans, and preparation, especially around food. Since your lives matter so much, how you gonna feed yourself? I'm gonna tap back in. Peace.